I recently stumbled upon my old Game Boy. I'd left it at my parents' house when I moved out. My mom used to be hooked on Tetris on this thing until it ran into some trouble. Maybe leaking batteries or something? I honestly don't remember. It's probably been sitting untouched for the last 20 years or so. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't been playing Game Boy games, because I definitely have. I've been enjoying them on various emulation systems like this Gameboy GB2X, this smaller BitBoy that's shaped like a Game Boy but smaller, my Dingo A320, another BitBoy, and my Ambernick RG351 MP. And of course I got my Betosera device for some big screen retro gaming. But there's just something special about playing on the original hardware. And that's why I'm gonna get this Game Boy DMG dot matrix graphics up and running again. Let's get this thing cleaned up. And when that's done, I'm gonna clean the connectors with contact cleaner and cotton swabs. I'm just gonna spray some contact cleaner on the swabs and then go to town. That looks so much better. Okay, let's put some batteries in and see if we can get this thing started. Okay, I found this weird metal part in the battery compartment. I don't think it belongs to the Game Boy. I think maybe my mom, when she used it, she found it and thought it belonged to the game, but it had fallen out some way. Because I don't think it's a part of the Game Boy. Weird. I sprayed some contact cleaner on the connectors in the battery compartment because I saw a lot of battery corrosion. And that's what my mom said when she used it. There was some problem with it concerning leaking batteries. So that makes perfectly sense. Let's see if it can get this thing up and running again. Oh my god, it actually works. It actually works. The screen looks really bad though. Was it really that bad back in the days? I remember it being much clearer, I don't know. Maybe it's me getting old, eyesight getting... Well, I'm not 20 anymore. Or how old was I when I got this one? Maybe 11 or 12. When I got this Game Boy in, I think it was like 90, 91 maybe. Okay, the sound doesn't seem to work, at least not through the speakers or the speaker. So I'm gonna connect it to my headphones. And yeah, it works through the headphone jack, but not through the speaker. And look at that, out of the blue, the sound just started working. I didn't do anything. Used it for a while. Might be a capacitor thing, I don't know. Okay, so I switched to another game, and now the sound is gone. It's totally gone. When I connected the headphones, I can hear the sound, but it's not good. It's only the left channel that works, and the sound kind of comes and goes, and it's the quality is not good. That's for sure. So there are some issues with this Game Boy. Yeah, you can see here the screen is bulging, and there's also a crack on the left side of the screen. Or the screen cover, that is. The Game Boy seems to have a few issues we need to address. First up, the screen isn't looking its best. It's quite dim, and the contrast isn't great, and it's blurry, which might just be due to my modern screen expectations. The sound coming from the built-in speaker is completely gone. No beeps, no game music, nothing. Interestingly, if I plug in headphones, I do get some sound, but it's far from perfect. Only the left channel seems to be working, and there's a noticeable amount of crackling and fluttering making it hard to really enjoy the audio. And finally, the screen cover is not in great shape. It's visibly bulging outwards and has a pretty significant crack on the left side. After thinking about how to solve at least a few of these issues, I went and ordered an IPS screen kit off AliExpress. That would be a significant screen upgrade, and since it includes a new screen cover, it solves at least 2 issues. And it might even solve the audio problem if the physical speaker is the problem. We'll see about that. I also ordered one of these EverDrive clones. It was like 20 bucks off AliExpress. And it's one of those cartridges that use a micro SD card where you put all the games. And then there's a menu and you can pick any game you want and load new games onto the SD card. We'll see how that works.
1 week later.
Okay, I received the IPS screen kit. And now I'm gonna open up the Game Boy. The Game Boy uses these tri-wing screws, so you're gonna need a tri-wing screwdriver. I had only this small one. It came with a kit for repairing cell phones. There's 6 screws, 4 on the back and 2 inside the battery compartment. Okay, and there the tri-wing screwdriver broke. So I'll order a new one and continue this tomorrow.
1 day later.
I ordered a simple kit off Amazon. It came with 3 screwdrivers, 1 tri-wing and 2 others with Gamebit that are used in various Nintendo, Sega systems. And that was the last screw. Let's see how it looks inside. It actually looks pretty clean. Inside the Game Boy, we have 2 circuit boards. The larger one at the back or to the left, that's the motherboard. And that's where you find the CPU, the memory, and the most important chips that make the Game Boy work. I'm gonna detach the ribbon cables so we can get a closer look. Then at the front, we have the front board. This board primarily houses the directional port, the A and B buttons, start and select, and also the speaker and volume wheel, but most important, it houses the screen. Do you see it? The corrosion on the motherboard, most certainly from leaking batteries. I also checked soldering points and they looked fine. Before I start taking this apart any further, I'm gonna get it cleaned up. I don't want to get dust between the new screen I'm gonna install and the screen cover. And I'm using compressed air for this. The board is attached by 8 Phillips screws, so no tri-wing screwdriver needed here, just a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, I'm just gonna speed this up a little because this is quite boring to look at, I think. I'm gonna gently try to get this board loose. Yeah, and there we have the screen. And the buttons are on the shell, and we have the speaker. It actually looks alright. Yeah, this board looks fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just the screen is not as good as I remembered it. I'm just gonna put a piece of tape over the membrane so I don't lose any parts. Next I'm gonna get the screen cover out and clean off the glue. I'm just gonna use a flathead screwdriver to get the glue residue off, and then I'm also gonna use isopropanol to get the rest off. Okay, I think that's good enough. First step is to take the new screen and put it in the screen holder. This looks nice. Next step is to take the new board for the screen and attach the speaker. There's no soldering needed, just connect it. The next step is to mount the screen inside the Game Boy, like this. This is really easy. Now we're gonna put the new board on top of everything, and we need to get that ribbon for the new screen through that opening on the PCB, like this. And we need to get the new speaker in place. And this ribbon cable connector isn't as the other ones on the Game Boy. This has a lever that you need to push down in order to lock it. Okay, let's put the 8 screws back. The next step is to push this ribbon cable with the blue side up into the ribbon connector like this. And after that, we're gonna connect the front of the Game Boy to the motherboard like this. Just push it in. There's no lever. Just push it in there. And this is how it should look. Okay, everything is connected, and let's put in some batteries and see if it works before we do the rest. Moment of truth. Will it work? And it works. It worked right away, actually. Wow, that screen looks really good. There's no cartridge in. That's why it's just a black bar. Okay, let's put in a game. I got Tetris here. And let's turn it on again. Oh, we got the Nintendo logo. Okay, no sound. Still no sound. So I guess this mod didn't solve the sound problem. And I did connect it to a pair of headphones off camera, and the sound works through the headphone jack, but not through the speaker. And this makes me think that the issue with the sound has something to do with the motherboard, because we saw battery corrosion on the lines of the motherboard. Okay, let's find those 6 tri-wing screws and get the tri-wing screwdriver and get this Game Boy together again. We got batteries in, we got a game, let's turn it on again. And it works. Perfect. Still no sound though. Before I put this screen lens back on, I'm gonna clean it with a microfiber cloth. We don't want any dust or anything else in there. Okay, that's good enough. Let's put the new screen lens on. I ordered one in gray, just like the original, because I wanted to keep my Game Boy as it was. I didn't want to change anything, basically. I wanted to like be as it was when I used it in the 90s. And finally we'll remove the protective film from the glass lens. Let's try it out one more time. Yeah, it still works. This is Super Mario Land. I played this a lot when I was a kid. Initially, I wanted to keep this Game Boy stock, but after seeing the dot matrix screen, I realized I wouldn't use it much with that screen, and I want to use it like daily. And that was just not gonna happen with the old screen. But this looks amazing. Really amazing. So clear. And you can change the colors in the settings menu. One issue I had was that the knob for controlling the screen got stuck when pressing it to open up the menu. But just be sure not to tighten these two screws on the left side too tight, and that won't be a problem. I just put this cartridge in. It's the Gameboy GB Pro Plus. When you boot up your Game Boy with this cartridge in, you will see this menu, which are actually folders with different ROM files for the Game Boy. When you want to start a game, you press the B button to open up this menu, and you can select load and start, or just load only. What will happen now is that the ROM file will be moved into the flash memory of the cartridge, and the system will restart and load the selected game. It's super easy. Next time you boot up, if you want to play the same game, just press the start button and it will start automatically. After I finished this project, something was still nagging me. You know, the issue with the lack of sound from the speaker and only the left audio channel working, it kept me... I just couldn't let go. Something had to be done. I could of course have replaced the capacitors and fixed the motherboard by starting new traces and lines, but I just wanted to get this thing up and running fast and properly. So I actually ordered a refurbished motherboard off AliExpress. It was just less hassle.
1 week later.
I received a package from AliExpress with the newer, well, it was really kind of refurbished motherboard. Let's install it. This looks good. No battery corrosion on this motherboard. Time to get the screwdrivers again. Let's detach the ribbon cable. The motherboard is attached with 2 tri-wing screws, and also the sound card at the bottom, that also has 2 screws, tri-wing. And let's carefully lift the motherboard. Oh, this one does not look exactly like the one I ordered. I think this one is an older one, and the one I ordered is a newer version with smaller circuits that were cheaper to put together. It doesn't really matter as long as it works. I'm gonna put them next to each other so you can see the difference. The one to the left is the one that was in my Game Boy, and the one to the right is the one I ordered off AliExpress. Same, but a little different. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's get the new motherboard installed. And also the headphone jack. And with everything in the right place, it's time to put this thing together again. I'm starting off with the 2 screws on the motherboard. And then the 2 screws for the headphone jack. And let's reconnect the ribbon cable. Let's put some batteries in and see how it works. Works. The sound works. Okay. In a game, it's Super Mario Land. I never thought I would be this happy from hearing the Game Boy startup sound, but I am. This is one of the 2 games I played the most back in the 90s. Super Mario Land and of course Tetris, which I still love. The new screen actually has a battery meter built in. You can see it here at the top of the screen. And if you press the button for the screen controls, it will show up for like 2 seconds and then go away again. And you can also change the palette from however you want. That's actually, there are like, I think there's 8 presets you can browse through, but you can customize the colors of the screen entirely. For me, this project is now done. This project took me about a month to finish from start to finish and cost me around $100. It was a fun journey and I'm really satisfied with how it turned out. You might ask yourself, is he not gonna retrobite the shell? No, I'm not gonna. I wanna keep it in this condition. I want it to look used but still in pristine condition underneath. I'm keeping the old screen as it might come in handy for some other Game Boy project, but this project is now finished and I'm gonna go play my Game Boy games until and after my thumbs get sore. Thanks for watching, until next time.